Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is Shumala Kadir. Students, hope you all are fine. Today we have our next topic, metabolism of carbohydrate. In the last lecture, we studied digestion and absorption of carbohydrate. Now, after the absorption of monosaccharide in the portal blood, it passed to the liver before entering in the systemic circulation. At the level of liver, or the two mechanisms operates in this state. Number one, withdrawal of carbohydrates from blood, and second, the release of glucose by liver to systemic circulation for extrahepatic tissues to perform their function because they require energy. The two set of mechanisms that operate at the level of liver include withdrawal of carbohydrate from blood and release of glucose by the liver cell to the blood. So first, the withdrawal of carbohydrate from the blood include uptake of hexoses by the liver cell. The hexoses can be galactose or fructose, and the conversion of such hexoses to glucose. The conversion of glucose to glycogen or the formation of glycogen to be stored in the liver by the process of glycogenesis, glycogen formation, and the utilization of glucose by oxidation, that is by glycolysis, for production of energy. Glucose can also be used for the synthesis of compound other than glucose. Glucose can also be used for the synthesis of other compounds like fatty acid and certain amino acids. Now, the release of glucose by the liver cell to the blood include glucose formation from hexoses other than glucose and their release by the liver cell, and the breakdown of glycogen to liberate glucose by the process of glycogenolysis, means breakdown of glycogen. Formation of glucose can also be occurred in the liver from non-carbohydrate sources like amino acids or glucogenic amino acids. Glucose can also be formed from pyruvic acid, lactic acid, glycerol, as well as propanol CoA. And this process is called gluconeogenesis, glucose formation. When the glucose is available for its utilization by the cells or extrahepatic tissues, hepatic is referring to liver cell, and it comes in systemic circulation, so it is available for different cells to perform their function because they need the energy to perform their function. Actually, the hepatic cells are permeable to glucose, so glucose can easily move. Insulin can increase the uptake of glucose by many extrahepatic tissues such as skeletal muscle, heart muscle, diaphragm, adipose tissue, and lactating mammary glands, etc. This glucose is utilized in different pathway depending on the need. The fate of glucose and utilization is comprising of different pathways. It is oxidized by glycolysis, also called Embden-Meyerhof pathway, HMP Shunt pathway, uric acid pathway, and it can also be stored in the form of glycogen by glycogenesis, formation of glycogen from glucose, and it can also convert to fat by lipogenesis and can also convert to amino acids The glucose, which is hexose sugar or 6 carbon containing sugar, can also degrade to 5 carbon containing compound, that is pentose sugar, that ribose or deoxyribose, and can also convert to other hexoses like fructose. And so the glucose which is formed can be converted to pentose or other hexose sugars like fructose, galactose, gluconic acid, or ribose. So conversion of glucose to other carbohydrate can be possible. The first mechanism or pathway of oxidation of glucose is glycolysis. Glycolysis is come from the Greek word glykos, means sugar, and lysis means splitting or breakdown. So it is basically the oxidation of glucose or glycogen to pyruvate or lactate. And this was described as by Emden Merhoff and Ponnes, so it is also called EM pathway or Emden-Merhoff pathway. And this glycolysis is occurred in all the tissues because the cells required energy to perform their function, and it is occurred in the cytosol of the cell. It has two phases, the two basic phases. And these two phases are basically categorized or divided because of presence of oxygen. In aerobic phase, as the name indicates, oxygen is required, or if the oxygen is present, the aerobic glycolysis is occurred, and in this phase, oxidation is carried out by dehydrogenation and reducing equivalent, which is transferred to NAD. This NAD is because of having of oxygen, if the oxygen is present, is after production of NADH, again comes to its form NAD by mitochondrial oxidation, and ATP is produced in this state because of presence of oxygen. Whereas in anaerobic phase, NADH, which is formed in glycolysis, cannot be oxidized in electron transport chain because of unavailability of oxygen. So no ATP is produced in electron transport chain, but as it is required to form again NAD, so conversion of pyruvate to lactate, the pyruvate convert to lactate, and at that stage it is converted back to NAD without producing ATP. So anaerobic phase limits the amount of energy per molecule of glucose that is oxidized. And the enzyme involved in glycolysis are extra mitochondria, out of mitochondria. The glucose convert to pyruvate and then lactate in anaerobic phase. So no ATP is formed. Whereas in case of aerobic glycolysis phase, glucose after conversion of pyruvate converted to acetyl-CoA with production of 6 ATP, and then this acetyl-CoA goes to TCA cycle. Simply in aerobic phase, the NAD which is formed, NADH which is formed is oxidized in mitochondrial, and energy is produced because oxygen is present. So in whereas in anaerobic phase, due to unavailability of oxygen, the cycle is stopped, and the reversal of that NADH is by process of conversion of pyruvate to lactate with release of or with the formation of NAD again. We will see this all in a more described way. But here it is to differentiate that in anaerobic phase, pyruvate is converted to lactate, whereas aerobic phase, pyruvate is converted to acetyl-CoA, or then it goes to TCA cycle and more energy is formed. When we summarize the whole energy production of this whole process, so in case of anaerobic phase, we have 8 ATP, whereas in case of anaerobic glycolysis, still TCA, we have 36 ATP production, 38 ATP production. First, simply say, let us see the different compounds formed and the pathway following in glycolysis. First of all, glucose is converted to glucose 6-phosphate with utilization of ATP in presence of hexokinase. And then this glucose 6-phosphate is converted to fructose 6-phosphate again by utilization of an ATP in presence of without utilization of ATP by the enzyme phosphoglucoisomerase. And then this fructose 6-phosphate is converted to 1,6-bisphosphate, 2-phosphate group attached at this level. So again, one more ATP is utilized and it is occur in presence of phosphofructokinase. The fructose 1,6-bisphosphate is then converted to glyceraldehyde by the enzyme aldolase. This glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate is interconvertible to dihydroxyacetone phosphate, which is also which is normally converted to glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. So 2 molecules of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate are generated, and this is occur, the interconversion is occurred by isomerase enzyme. This glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate then converted to 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate by the enzyme triose phosphate dehydrogenase, because at this level, at the level of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, it is 3-carbon containing compound. It is triose. So triose phosphate dehydrogenase is required in this reaction, and it is also required NAD. So as 2 glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate is there, so 2 molecule of NAD is required and it is formed an NADH. And this NADH, if oxygen is present, is converted to again NAD, and each produce 3 ATP. So total 6 ATP are formed in this stage if oxygen is present. 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate is then converted to 3-phosphoglycerate by the enzyme phosphoglycerokinase, and with the liberation of 2 ATP. After that, the 3-phosphoglycerate is converted to 2-phosphoglycerate by the enzyme phosphoglyceromutase. This 2-phosphoglycerate is then converted to phosphoenol pyruvate by the enzyme enolase with liberation of water molecule. Now the finally phosphoenol pyruvate is converted to pyruvic acid by the enzyme pyruvate kinase with the liberation of 2 ATP. This is the same pathway, but it is here to make you understand more clearly with the expression of structures. This is the glucose molecule, and it can be glycogen, which comes first, glucose 1-phosphate. So either the glucose or glucose 1-phosphate. So either glycogen if the glycogen is there, so it first come to glucose 1-phosphate, and if glucose is there, so it directly taking part in the reaction. So glucose is converted to glucose 6-phosphate by utilizing the energy ATP ATP, adenosine triphosphate, to form adenosine diphosphate in presence of enzyme hexokinase or glucokinase. The hexokinase is basically for hexoses, and glucokinase is specific to glucose. This glucose 6-phosphate, as adenosine triphosphate is converted to adenosine diphosphate, so one phosphate group is attached at 6th position of glucose. That is why it is glucose 6-phosphate. You can easily see here. And if it is glycogen, so first is converted to glucose 1-phosphate, then glucose 6-phosphate. Now, this glucose 6-phosphate, you can see here in the pathway, it is then converted to fructose 6-phosphate. So, isomerase is required for conversion of glucose to isomer. Phosphohexose isomerase is utilized, and fructose 6-phosphate is formed. Now, this fructose 6-phosphate is further phosphorylated, and fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. Bis here indicating 2-phosphate group. 1,6-1-phosphate group again is attached at one position of glucose fructose, and another is attached to at 6th position of fructose, and this occur in presence of enzyme phosphofructokinase, and it is also required energy. So 1 ATP in presence of magnesium, and if 1 ATP is utilized and converted to ADP, adenosine diphosphate. This fructose 1,6-biphosphate is split it down, or it's broken down into two shorter compound by enzyme aldolase. These two are glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate and dihydroxyacetone phosphate. This dihydroacetone phosphate is interconvertible to glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate by the enzyme phosphotriose isomerase. So we can say here 2 glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate are formed, and then glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate will further convert it to 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate. You can see now 2 phosphate group are attached. This reaction required NAD to form NADH. Now, at that stage, if it is aerobic respiration, NADH is oxidized again to form NAD and release 6 ATP. Why? Because 2 molecules are formed, 1,3-phosphoglycerate. Each will require one NAD. So 2 NADH are formed, oxidized in mitochondria later, which is oxidized by mitochondrial oxidation, and 6 ATP are formed. But if it is anaerobic, so mitochondrial oxidation is not there, and only available only the reaction which is later we see pyruvate conversion to lactate. This causes the reversal of NAD. Now this 1,3-bisphosphate is simply converted to 3-phosphoglycerate by the liberation of ATP by the enzyme phosphoglycerate kinase. So one phosphate group is removed. So here two ATPs are formed because these are two molecules. This 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate is converted to 3-phosphoglycerate with the liberation of 1 ATP for each 3-phosphoglycerate formation. So 2 ATP are formed in this reaction, and it is occur in presence of phosphoglycerate kinase. Now this 3-phosphoglycerate is converted to 2-phosphoglycerate. Simply the phosphate group is rearranged, and it is occurred in presence of enzyme phosphoglycerate mutase. Now this 2-phosphoglycerate is then converted to phosphoenol pyruvate by the presence of enzyme enolase, and this enzyme requires fluoride to be active and for the formation of phosphoenol pyruvate. And this phosphoenol pyruvate is then converted to enol pyruvic acid with liberation of energy, ATP, and in the presence of enzyme pyruvate kinase. The enol pyruvate is spontaneously converted to ketopyruvate. Now this pyruvic acid, the ketopyruvic acid, if it is anaerobic or it is anaerobic phase of glycolysis, no oxygen is there, so it is converted to lactic acid, and this reaction is reversible. If oxygen is available, then it is reversed and further processing of pyruvic acid is occurred. And this is also responsible, as I told you, that it convert this NADH in the previous state to again form NAD, but no energy is produced in this case. And if oxygen is present, so pyruvic acid will form acetyl CoA, which further goes to TCA cycle.